everyone, it's Miss Vinnie. Welcome to About Transplant Life with my very special guest, Kerensa Smith. Hers is a story of resilience, family, organ donation, and the incredible strength that comes from trusting God through life's most difficult seasons. Today, I am honored to introduce to you her remarkable son, Keegan. Born at just 3 pounds, little Keegan has spent his entire life on oxygen while courageously battling chronic lung disease and waiting for a life-saving lung transplant. Yet despite every challenge, he continues to smile, play piano, earn his black belt in Taekwondo, attend school, and enjoy life to the fullest. Watch this. Kerensa's family has also endured unimaginable loss, losing 2 beloved children while continuing to hold on to faith, hope, and the promise of tomorrow. And we are going to talk about it. Hey everyone, it's Miss Vinnie. Welcome to About Transplant Life. I am so happy for you to be with me tonight. And this story that I'm going to share with you is probably one of the most compassionate stories that we've ever told here on About Transplant Life. You are about to meet the most courageous mother I have ever met, and her amazing little superhero son, Keegan, who has spent his entire life living on oxygen while waiting for a life-saving double lung transplant. Now, that makes him very special to me because, as you know, I am a heart transplant recipient. And when he was born, almost 12 years ago, that's when I received my second chance at life, my heart transplant. And so he has been on oxygen this entire time. And his loving mother, who you're about to meet, has cared for him through every hill, every valley, along with her other children. You're going to hear an incredibly heartbreaking story. But this story is about love, it's about strength, it's about faith, and it's about never giving up, even when every obstacle can come against you. You are going to be truly blessed by this story. And so I'm so excited to present to you, without any further ado, my new friends, Keegan and his mom, Kerensa. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome, thank
About
you.
Transplant Life. How are you doing, Keegan? You promised me you was gonna sit up straight. You okay, honey?
Sit up. You gotta be.
How you guys doing today?
I'm good.
We're doing good.
I,
Yeah.
I know it's been a long day, and you're 3 hours ahead. You're all the way in Cincinnati, Ohio. How's the weather? What's going on in Cincinnati?
It is hot and humid right now, and we're waiting for a nice round of storms to come through here
Oh
sometime
my
overnight.
goodness. Oh my goodness. So I hope you guys are hunkered down and you have everything you need, right?
We do. Yes, we're good. So,
Okay. So let's get started. Uh-oh, what happened? Let's get started. Um, you have an incredible story to tell. And I want to make sure that our listeners understand everything that you have gone through now. Keegan, since Keegan is here, we're going to start with Keegan. Keegan, how old are you? 12 years old, right?
Yeah.
11.
Well, 11 and 3/4, right? We count every day when they're that age. Let's talk about Keegan, the superhero. How did he become a part of your loving family? Tell us about that.
He was born in September and we brought him home from the hospital in November, on November 9th, as a matter of fact, because it was my husband's birthday. And
Really?
so we brought him home that day. By that time, he was about 5 pounds, wearing oxygen, had a tube up his nose to feed him. So he fed from a pump most of the time. And um, his oxygen, his pulse ox, and all the stuff that comes with having a young little boy on oxygen and a baby to boot.
So tell us about why he needed oxygen from the time he was born. What happened?
So he was a preemie. He was born about 30 weeks, and his lungs just didn't fully develop. And so he made it the first day, and by day two, his lungs started having difficulty. So they put him on oxygen, still at that point thinking he was just kind of going to outgrow it like a lot of preemies at that age do. He just never outgrew the need for oxygen. So he has just kind of kept needing more and more every year or two, even less than that now. So
So there have been a lot of challenges along the way, right? A lot of trips to Children's Hospital. What has that been like for you as his
well,
mom?
the first 3 years, we were there a lot. He was, besides having a lot of doctor's appointments and everything, he would also get very sick and have to stay there. Every little virus, every little cold, would put him in the hospital. At When he was about 6 months old, he was due to have a surgery to get his tonsils and adenoids taken out, but they wouldn't. Do the surgery. The anesthesiologist would not not transplant, but sedate him. And
Yeah.
so she was like, not until he sees pulmonology, which he had not seen at that point. And I already had a pulmonology appointment for the next week. And so I called my pediatrician and said, look, let's order any blood work that pulmonologist is going to need, any tests, everything, so I can get answers next week, not go in and still have to wait weeks to get answers. I took him in the next day for that lab work and stuff. Didn't even make it back to my house. And my pediatrician called me and said, you have to go back to the hospital. His lab work's really bad. His CO2 levels were super high, and his pH levels were low. And so from there, we ended up with an 8-week stay, which so far to date has been our longest, back-to-back stay has been a total of 8 weeks. So, and came out with a lot more tests and then a G tube and more diagnoses that the doctors labeled him with, more oxygen, more medicines. So
Keegan, how do you handle living life on oxygen? What is it like for you being a little boy? Do you go to regular school or are you homeschooled?
no, you go to regular school, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
He's
goes to
getting tired.
regular school for a baby. He's so tired. And
Yeah.
so, what is it like being around the other kids? Do you have good friends or do you have to stick up for yourself?
What do you think? Do you have good friends, or do you need to stick up for yourself all the time?
Yeah.
You need to stick up for yourself, yeah. I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
that answers a lot of questions. And
A lot of questions, right? Kids are nosy, huh?
a
But
lot
do
of
you tell
questions.
them that you're a superhero? That's why you have that tank. What do you tell them?
What
What
do
do
you
you
tell
tell
them?
them when they ask you about your tank? What do you say?
What do you say? He usually just looks at me to answer.
He does. Is
Yeah.
he always shy like that? Or are you just being shy for Miss Vinnie tonight? I think he's tired. He's had a
He's
long day.
tired. He's tired. He's had a long day, and he is typically shy until he really gets to know you, and then he'll talk your ear off.
He will. Okay. So how challenging has, raising a child? Tell us what your average day is like raising a child who's dependent on oxygen.
Um, we obviously have to make sure we all always have his like even now with the storms that we're about to come through, we had to get a home to a little portable generator so that if, our electric goes out, which luckily it doesn't a whole lot, but when it does, we can run his concentrator at least so he can maintain oxygen and his BiPAP equipment that he has to sleep on now. It's a big medicine. He's on like 15 plus medicines that he takes throughout the day.
Really?
So we're giving him, he takes medicine about 4 times a day, and there's about 15 of them or so. So you start your morning getting his meds together, and then most of his food he does through his G tube. So you're preparing that and getting that ready for the day. Lots of appointments. Anytime we leave the house, I kind of have to figure how many hours we're going to be gone, so I can calculate how long the tanks are going to last, so I know how many tanks to put in my car. And I usually try and throw 1 or 2 more in just in case you were to get stuck behind a car accident. We're stuck sitting on the highway or something.
So you always have to think ahead. Always have to be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now he's doing BiPAP during the daytime too. So now I'm not only taking all the tanks, but I'm putting his BiPAP in the car and having to pull over and switch it on when it needs to be, so he could do that during the day. So
what is a BiPAP? Tell us what that is.
So it's a ventilation. So it's a ventilation system. So it forces pressure into him and makes him breathe better and helps expel some of that CO2 that he likes to hold. He does not exchange his gases correctly. So the BiPAP forces him to kind of open up and breathe and then pushes out that air. It's a lot more fancier than the CPAP that you see the snorers use.
Yeah, my son had one of those.
Yeah. So,
but it's more complicated than that.
It's more complicated and a lot bigger than that, because my husband sleeps on a CPAP, and it's a lot bigger and louder when it beeps, because it has lots of alarms that beep if he's, if his sleep apnea were to come in, it'll make him breathe, but it'll also alarm me that he's not breathing well and things like that. So, yeah.
So, when was it determined that Keegan would be placed on the pediatric transplant list?
So it was brought up to me in July of 2021. We kind of tabled the conversation on that because the pulmonologist who brought it up to me did not realize that we had just gone through a couple months before that a pretty traumatic family event.
Yeah.
Do you have any more questions for him? He's asking if he's
okay. He can go now.
Right,
thank you, Keegan.
Say good night.
Good night.
Good night, sweetheart. I know you're tired. I know you're sleepy. It was nice to meet you. Thank you for letting him join us.
No problem. Sorry he wasn't more talkative. He's had some long days here recently.
That's okay.
So the pulmonologist had not realized we had just gone through our first of a couple of traumatic events. And so after I told him, why I'm suddenly crying in his office, we kind of tabled it. But we knew, a couple of months into it, as my husband and I talked about it and everything, we knew it was time. So he was officially placed on the list in September of 2022. So we kind of waited a little bit, and we did some inactive status for the first year and then placed him.
So it's been almost 4 long years, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Of waiting.
Yeah, we got one call that ended up being a practice run, a dry run. I've heard everybody call it different things. We got to the hospital, and the lungs ended up getting sick on the way in transport, so they had to cancel the surgery. So and that was this past.
I was in the hospital for almost 7 months waiting for my heart, right? And I had 4 of those.
Oh wow.
And I was like, look, don't even tell me about any more hearts until you are absolutely sure that you're about to cut me open and put it in. I was like, I don't even want to know.
Yeah, they had him asleep. They had him asleep, but then they had to wake him back up.
you get your hopes all up, and you think, okay, you prepare yourself mentally and emotionally. You tell your family, okay, this is it, and then it's not it.
Oh, yeah,
So
it was
how?
Keegan. Shh. Sorry.
That's okay. It's okay.
His dad's got him.
It's
He's
a
good.
reality show.
That's good because there's a lot of reality around here.
It's all reality around here, man. So listen, how challenging, and be honest, how challenging has it been for you as his mother and his caregiver? Because I know, you love him immensely, and you see him going through all of these challenges, with his health and everything. And then, like you said, you have to be prepared every single day, everywhere you go. And
Mhm.
it's got to be like, expensive, right?
Yeah,
So
I mean,
how difficult has it been for you?
I think more is the most challenging thing to me, other than the fact that I really do not like math problems a lot. So the math problem of how many oxygen tanks and how much time I'm going to be gone, and what could happen. I hate the math portion of that. The most challenging thing to me, I think, has just been trying to schedule everything and but keep everybody else, everything else that I need to do. I do work some, and my husband works full time, and we have other children, and we have our grandchildren. So trying to keep everything going while making sure I make all of his appointments and I'm attentive to, what the doctors tell me to do and what we need to do, and asking them questions. And I just feel like my brain never really turns off.
I was just Your brain never really turns us. I was getting ready to say you probably pray a lot too, don't you?
Oh,
How
yes.
important
Oh, yes.
how important is your faith in just making it through the day?
100%. I would not make it through my day, would not have made it through the last 5 years if I didn't have my faith, um, because God and I have talked quite a bit at 3 in the morning when I'm awake and going, okay, I can't sleep. Um, and so that's been my number one. Obviously, our family has been supportive, and we have a really we say that everybody has to have their village, and we have a strong village of friends, about four other couples that we hang around with and do things with, and could not have made it a lot without them.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about that. Your family has experienced several heartbreaking tragedies in recent years. So let's talk about that.
Good night, buddy. Love you.
Good night, Keegan.
And I,
He has to have his last good night kiss from mom.
That's so beautiful.
So
So beautiful.
thank you. So we have 6 kids total, um, 2 girls, 4 boys. Our oldest daughter is now married and has 2 children of her own that are 5 and just turned 3. Um, our second oldest daughter had just completed her second year in med school at the University of Kentucky, and had just finished her step 2 exam or whatever, and they were kind of had a little season where they could blow off some steam. And she went hiking and had a tragic hiking fall, and passed away. So
So which young lady is Gabriella?
she is the tallest of the girls, the one holding the little boy in the green shirt with the backpack.
Yeah, that's
So
Gabriella.
the girl
So
next to
she,
her with the glasses is my oldest daughter. The guy in the red shirt is my son-in-law. And then at the time, my daughter only had the one baby, so that little baby now is 5. And then the young man in the glasses with the purple shirt on, with the tennis, is our oldest son. And then that's me in the turquoise shirt, my husband in the pink shirt. The young man in the wheelchair is Joey. He was he had cerebral palsy and some other issues. And then Keegan is obviously in the yellow shirt. And the knee
Mhm.
that Keegan is sitting in is the son of one of my best friends, who he's like I call him my bonus son. So he just happened to come over and spend Easter with us that year. And unbeknownst to any of us, that was going to be our last family photo. So
Wow. See how valuable and precious pictures are.
Oh, I am
because
all about taking pictures. Even I was before, but now I'm like, take the picture, take the picture. And even try and get in a few, but I still don't like getting in them. But I am definitely like, I am taking all the pictures of the kids and everything, and that goes on. So yeah, I learned real hard that those those pictures someday are going to be all you have.
they last
So
a lifetime,
they
and
do.
they bring back so many memories. So unfortunately, you lost Gabriella, such a precious soul. What would you like the world to know about her?
Oh wow, now I'm going to probably cry. Um, she was a she was a very headstrong lady, but very convicted in her faith, and very much into service for all. That was her. Global health was her big thing in school when she was in med school, and the reasons she had chosen UK as her med school to go to for their and she loved doing mission trips. We've talked many times that we could have seen her being one of those, going on the mission trips and being medical mission trips, which she had done some even as an undergrad and through school. She'd been doing mission trips since she was in high school with our church, and then. Like I said, once she got into college and started getting into the med program, she even did some medical mission trips, but we could see her doing like the Doctors Without Borders, or going places and helping opening up medical clinics. She just thought everybody deserved good, valid, respectable health care, and so
Yeah.
she would have reached out for all. um, she was kind of between wanting to be an oncologist, a pediatric oncologist. She definitely was going pediatrics. She sometimes talked about oncology, but her main love was neonatology. She wanted to work in the NICU, and
Oh.
yeah, really loved the little babies. And she would actually call me when she was in med school, when they were talking about lungs. What have the doctors said about this for Keegan's lungs? Or
That's
when
what
they
I
were,
was gonna say. I'm sure she was like totally involved in Keegan's life, right?
oh yeah, her and Keegan were like inseparable when they were together. Actually, many people, because her hair was very curly too. If she took him out without us or anything, if she took him out to the store, which she would do all the time, she, he tagged along. Most people would go, "Oh, your son's so cute," and she's like, "It's my brother."
Yeah.
I do not have kids; it's my brother. And yeah, they were inseparable. They'd call each other. They'd lay here for hours and watch Beauty and the Beast, or any other. That was their favorite Disney movie to watch together. But yeah, they had a lot in common, and they had a strong bond. Um,
That's beautiful.
yeah.
And we know
So
that we're gonna see her again because she was a believer in our
yes,
Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So we know where
yeah,
she is, and we know that we'll see her again, right?
yes, we will. She is up there waiting. I actually um, tease respectfully tease with my transplant pulmonologist. He's always like, thanks for being so strong, thanks for being so patient. We're gonna get him as long as we just want the right pair. And I finally told him one day, I said, it's okay. I said, God's up there working on the perfect pair for him. And I said, and Gabriella's just standing over his shoulder going, not yet, God, try again. Because she just had that much devotion to Keegan that I know she's up there just helping God find that perfect pair. So
I believe that. I believe
yeah,
that. And so that was in 2021, right?
that was in May of May 4th of 2021 that she had her accident. She fell 150 feet when hiking. So yeah.
And then
So then
something
we
else happened.
fast forward. Yeah, we fast forward in October of 2023. We got to go on Keegan's Make a Wish trip. He had qualified for that. We all went to Disney World, which again helped a special bond for Gabriella because she absolutely adored Disney World. Having been a cheerleader growing up all through school, she had done cheer competitions at Disney every year, so she was very much into Disney. And so it was bittersweet to go to Disney without her for that whole week.
Mm.
But we included her on all of our family shirts that we wore by having her little flower that she liked applicate on all our shirts. But so we went to Disney that week. A week later, about a week to 2 weeks later, um, Randy got up one morning to go get Joey up. Randy's a morning person, so he went down to get Joey up, who was also very much a morning person. And sometime during the night, he had gotten sick and was basically having some respiratory issues.
Mm.
Randy put him in the car. He was 60. He had just turned 16 at the time. Randy put him in the car to rush him to Children's. He coded on the way. Randy ran we happened to be right by the fire station when it happened. And he ran into the fire station. They loaded him up, got him to the first hospital, which was not the Children's Hospital, because they had to stop because he was in such, distress. And they got him back, and then they transported him to Children's Hospital. And he lived for about 17 days, 17, 18 days. And we, as a family, had to make the choice that if all tests were showing that he had left us, and everything, that we weren't going to get our smiling Joey back. So we made the choice to turn off life support. He had gone into through that 17 days, he was basically going into multi-system organ failure and passed away.
So how did Joey come to be a part of your family?
So I had always known growing up, I always had a heart for wanting to do adoption and special needs adoption. And
Honey, that's a special anointing. I'm telling you. Not only are you caring for children, but you're caring for children that you didn't give birth to, that they were
right.
adopted. I'm telling you, that's an anointing from God right there. So go ahead.
Yeah. And I wanted the oldest daughter, Alexis, was a junior in high school at that point. And if we were going to adjust our family and add any children into the family, my thing was I wanted to do it before she left home. She had an opportunity to bond too before she went off to college. So searched, did all the classes and paperwork and stuff that you had to do to become a foster parent. And we've ran across Joey and some of the literature and stuff that we saw. And he was from Vegas, and he loved the Cars movie. So back to Disney. He loved the Cars movie, as did our 3 older children and my well, all of us did, but the rest of my family, they really just spoke in the Cars sarcasm and one-liners all the time. They could drop one of the one-liners. So it just seemed fitting that Joey would join our family. And so he joined us when he had just turned 3. And so he was with us for 13 years before
13 years. Wow.
Mm-hmm. And he made a big change. My oldest daughter she'd always talked about being a physical therapist, but she always was more leaning towards being a physical therapist for like athletes, because she was very athletic with her gymnastics and stuff. And after taking Joey to therapy and being involved a lot in his therapy and his physical therapy, she actually became a PT and works now where he got a lot of his therapy at Children's, and works with the same types of kids like Joe. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So how has all of these recent events, and your life of being, this amazing mom to these very special children, how has, that affected your family as a whole, do you think? Has it made you closer, or what do you think?
I think in some ways it's made us closer, but it's definitely left a void. We were always a very close, we always all got together for, a birthday, even if it was just to go for ice cream, not necessarily a party, not necessarily, cake and all that kind of, stuff. But even if we just went to the local dairy bar and got ice cream, we would all go, and that would be the birthday celebration. Thanksgiving, everybody, we had our routines on Thanksgiving. We had Thanksgiving dinner, and then on Friday we went and cut down the girls and I would go Black Friday shopping, and Saturday we all went and cut down the Smith family Christmas tree and
Yeah.
everything. And Sunday we decorated it. And so it's just kind of left some voids. You realize when everybody's sitting down, you realize who's missing at the table. And
Hmm.
and so it kind of leaves a sadness. But um yeah, so it's made some adjustments and those types of things, and which are hard because you sit around watching cartoons and you're expecting Joey to start laughing at it, even though, or you're getting onto somebody because Keegan's getting into trouble, and Joey used to just laugh, like, haha, you're getting in trouble, and he didn't say a lot, but he said a lot. He communicated a lot,
Yeah.
with all his stuff, but yeah, so it's made us closer in some ways, but then
It's
still left
bittersweet,
voids.
I know.
It is a bittersweet. So, and we just, just hold on that hopefully we all, everybody makes the changes so that we can all be together again.
Yeah.
So,
And what do you mean by that?
be together in heaven again someday. I
Yeah.
mean, all
Yeah.
all the hurt, all the trauma, all the shoulda, woulda's, they'll all be gone because it's all going to be fixed up there. I won't have to do counting for oxygen tanks. I mean, God's going to heal him one way or the other. It's whether he does it
That's
here or he does it
right.
up there. So,
That is so right. And that is the posture of faith that we have to have, right?
oh, yes.
Knowing that we have hope,
Hmm.
and that he would not leave us. He promised he would never leave us or forsake us. Because
Right.
I would lay in the hospital and I was absolutely convinced I would get a heart. You couldn't tell me I wasn't going to get a heart. And I had to keep my mind stayed on him, right? In
Hmm.
order for me to constantly believe that, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
you do. You really have
I,
to, be radical about it,
even in,
So what do
yeah.
you do to stay focused on him? What do you do?
Um, although I can't play any type of musical instrument or anything, I delve into a lot of music. I will, turn on the message on Sirius Radio or a local Christian station, and just I let the music feed me a lot, and
Hmm.
just throw that worship up there. I try and get really good about. I won't say that I'm perfect about getting up every morning or before I go to bed every night. Reading my Bible and all that kind of stuff. But I try. Uh, and definitely, and I have a good friend who I met, and we really just send Bible verses to each other, or sayings that are all about our faith and stuff, and that's really how we communicate, is just clips of
That is
that and
so
everything.
good.
And
You
then
have to.
yes,
You
you
have to
do.
stay focused, because all of the fiery darts that come, the phone calls and the hospital visits and the medication
Mhm.
and the doctor's reports, all of those things can be so heavy and so weighty. And that's why he told us to cast all of our cares upon the Lord.
Right.
And it
Even
sounds like that's what you do.
yeah, I try to. I mean, I'm not going to say that there aren't some days I'm going, okay, God, you and I are going to have a really long talk when I get up there.
Hmm.
Just clear the
Hmm.
table for a couple hours. We're talking, and you're going to answer all my questions. But you know, jokingly aside, I know he's got a plan. If I have found any solace in that Gabriella passed away first, I know that she was there to help receive Joey, who, I she would have been, I just envision her just running to him like, "You're mine now. You're back with me,"
Hmm.
and I got him, Mom. So I got him from here until you get here, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that he's not confined to his wheelchair. He's
He's,
singing the good words, and he's running through those streets of gold. When he never
that's
got.
right. That is so right. And
Yeah,
we have to stay focused on those things.
I
So
do.
let me ask you this. What advice would you give to parents who may have a child who is facing a difficult medical journey? What would you say?
Um, I would say don't focus on the big things that they're missing out. And I'm a speech therapist by profession, and I've even told this to, I can remember saying this to so many of my parents. The baby steps for these kids are huge steps. They aren't just, yes, everybody might smile, but it's huge when he smiles with that oxygen cannula in his nose, or when he learned to crawl dragging that oxygen line around. I remember that ladies would stop me in the grocery store when he's toddling around at 2 and 3, and they'd be like, his oxygen's around his leg. And I'd be like, okay, he knows. And they're like, and they're like, what if he falls? And I go, he'll get up like every other kid. I mean, those small things they have to learn, and those are huge for them. The first time he tripped over his oxygen, it was like, okay, now what are you going to do? All right, you got this thing tagging along with you. Figure it out, buddy. What are you going to do? And drag it along. And now he rides a bike with it, and he does taekwondo with it, and and skiing, obviously. And
he skis with it. I want to show that video real quick because I absolutely love this video of him water skiing. And I want you to tell us about
this is my bonus son that I was talking about that has him. One of my favorites.
That is so awesome. When I saw him doing that, how old was he?
Oh gosh, that was probably, and he was probably 5. Yeah, because
really,
it was before. Yeah, so it was either 2019 or 2020. I'm pretty sure. So he was about 5 when we did it. I sent the video to the clip to his pulmonologist after we did it. He's like, "Oh, that's really scary." He goes, "But you're letting him live life." And that's my other piece of advice to the parents is, you know what? Yeah. Figure out how they can do those life things that you want to do. You don't have to put everything on hold and stay inside your 4 walls of your house. Just figure out how it might look a little different. It might not look like everybody else, but find out how you can do it, and grab those friends that'll help you do it. I mean, that's none of us. None of us were skiers, except my husband did it when he was growing up, but he hasn't skied in years. That was my bonus son that pulled him up on the skis in his mom and dad's boat. And, and they're like, I'm like, he really wants to go skiing. And they're like, let's do it, and we go the village that we hang out with. We camp a lot and we go hiking. I mean, they've all been known to help carry Joey up the trail because his wheelchair wouldn't go any further. So
Joey went too.
Joey went, yeah. He would go hiking. He's been to the top of several, and we just backpacked him around, or a couple of us would, get up under his arms and carry him, or we'd take turns carrying him. And yeah, we just, whatever we have to do, we made it so they could do what everybody else was doing, however we had to. And that's, just let them live life to the best that they can. And so, and don't be afraid to ask the doctors, questions and admit when you mess up. Because I mean, I know after Gabriella passed away, I finally had to go to all of their doctors and go, I know I have dropped the ball on when we had appointments, but my life was derailed for a little bit. So help me get them back on track for their appointments. And, I stayed up on all their care that I knew, but oh darn, I missed that appointment. We should have scheduled that in 6 months. Now we're at 8 months. Okay, sorry. And they were all understood, just
be honest, because you had to take care of yourself. And so that's my next question to you, because all of the things that you've gone through, Kerensa, are not just about you. They're about you empowering someone else that's going through the same thing, right? Because you can't teach what you haven't experienced.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And firsthand what it's like to care for a child, with a difficult medical journey. What it's like, to grieve the loss of not one of your children, but 2 of them. So what words of encouragement would you like to share with families who are grieving the loss of a loved one? What would you say?
The best scenario that I have come up with grief to me, and I happen to love the ocean. I grew up most of my life living on oceans because my dad was in the military. But is that I attribute it to like the ocean waves. You stand at the beach, which is my favorite place to stand. Your feet kind of walking along in the water. Some days those waves of grief are going to come over and knock you down, and
Mm.
just you're under there trying to go, okay, I've got to get out of this, and you're fighting to get back up. Other days, they're kind of making you stumble a little bit, but you're gonna get through it, and just keep your eyes focused on what you need to be doing. Keep your eyes focused on God, and reach out to those friends who are there to help you, or even just have a friend sit with you quietly. And then, most every day, it's just lapping around your ankles. It's there, but you're never going to forget it. But it's not knocking you down all the time. And
Yeah.
you'll go through those different storms every day. I might have a week or two that it's just, it's there. I feel it. I miss it. And it's just lapping around my ankles. May typically tends to be that it knocks me over. And like this past May was the 5-year anniversary of Gabriella passing away. Joey should have graduated high school. In the meantime, Keegan has been getting a little more sick. May did me in. It was the big wave, and I just scrambled to get up every day. I've got to do this, fight above that current, and you can do this. And come on, God, pull me out of the.
Yeah.
So it was hard this year for all those different reasons, but now we're into June, and it's like, okay, I made it out of May.
Yeah, you made it out of May. We
Yeah.
got to live this life one day at a time,
Yeah.
and many obstacles come against all of us, but the
Hmm.
Lord brings us through them all. Those are his promises. And we have
Right.
to hold on to those promises. And
Hmm.
I just want to let you know that you are truly one of the most courageous women I've met since I've
Thank
been
you.
doing this show. No, really.
And I never feel that way, but thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, because you never see yourself the way other people see you, right?
Right.
Right. And so for you to bring these children into your life when they needed you most and just, wholeheartedly embrace them and
Hmm.
care for them, I'm telling you, there is a reward for you, not just in heaven, my friend, but right here on earth, you are going to be just fine. The Lord is with you. And every single day you wake up, his mercies are new every morning. He gives you new strength, new joy, new reasons to just keep going,
Yeah.
and I just thank God for you. I really, really do. And I'm
I
so glad we had the opportunity to do this show.
I
I,
know.
I
Thank
have
you.
been waiting and waiting and waiting to talk to you. We finally did it. And I am
I
so,
hate that I had to cancel, but he ended up in the hospital. I'm like, ah.
but that's transplant life. I mean, I was
Yeah.
in and out of the hospital over 50 times. My son stopped counting at 50, but I'm
Oh
sure it's
gosh.
more than that,
I,
and, I'm sure you could, probably ran out of counting too.
oh, I do.
But,
I know that I have friends who, in the medical community, and they're like, oh, my kids had, this number of surgeries. I couldn't even begin to tell you. I'm like, I don't know. I just a lot,
a
and
lot. Yeah.
I'm waiting for the big one, and we're gonna get it. But yeah, I just don't keep up with that. It's too much to dwell on. I go for the day, and even Keegan's always like, Mom, what are we gonna do tomorrow? And I'm like, dude, I'm just working on getting through today.
Well, I
God's
hope
giving
you're writing a book or keeping journals of
everybody.
everything.
I've never been
Mhm.
a journaler, but everybody tells me I need to write a book. Maybe someday I'll sit down and write it. It's slowly, I think God is forming it in my head because I'm getting that urge more and more as the last couple of years have gone on, and to try, and I would like to write it in a children's book. Just kind of
Mhm.
thinking, because one of my things is, even strangers that pass, and you get the stares and you get the looks, or you get the questions from the little kids, and the parents are like, oh my gosh, don't ask it. I'm like, you know what, I'd rather you ask it. I'd rather you
Yeah.
ask than be afraid of him. There's nothing to be afraid of him, about. He's not contagious. He's not, he's and anything like that. ask the questions, ask the concerns, so you're not
Yeah.
afraid of him because he wants to do what everybody else does.
And
So
he's human just like everybody else. But I
yeah.
do want to ask you this one question since you mentioned something. How has it been for him at school? I mean, it is there a problem with bullies and and kids just being a little too rough, or how has that been for him?
It's gone back and forth. He does. I do luck out. He goes to a very small school, and it's a very community school. So I mean, some of these kids that have been in this actual school, their grandparents went to this school, so it's very community based. Um, my best friend has been one of his teachers. The principal is a friend of mine, so I've really lucked out, and the kids and they've always loved him. He has a few kids that really watch out for him and help him out and kind of protect him,
That's good.
and everything. He's had some instances of kids saying things or kids kind of making fun of things,
Because
but
kids could be so rude sometimes. I mean, come
they
on.
can. But
you know?
yeah, I mean, I'm more concerned about this next year because ours kind of goes 5 elementaries now all feed into one middle school.
Oh,
So
middle
he just
school.
kind of gets thrown into you know, the big
Yeah.
pond. And so I'm a little more nervous about that one. He misses a lot. Like this year, he missed 4 months straight of school. So he has to go on. That's why he said home because they put him on homebound. So I'll do stuff with him here, but then a teacher comes and brings all his work here, or they've let him
Oh, okay.
kind of continue some and do like the kids did during the COVID stuff and get online and watch class, via Microsoft Teams or whatever. So they've done that. Uh, last year, our little elementary school just went from a small, really old building, which had stairs and air conditioning didn't work in half the building. It was an old building, um, to a brand new building this year. So in fourth grade, which was his last year in the old building, he literally could only make it a half a day because he couldn't climb the stair. Going up and down the stairs all day was wearing him out. I think just the temperature changes and probably some, allergies going on in the building. Um, he went in the mornings and then I picked him up at lunch and we did the rest of it in the afternoons. I did it here or they had the homebound teacher come and do it.
Yeah.
Um, this year and his school's also has been good all these years of saying, hey, especially, post COVID when the kids got to go back to school, it's his class is really a lot of kids in his class are sick or the flu's really going through his class. And so they'll call me and go, come get him, get him out of the building. And so they'll immediately put him back on homebound until, it's gone away and it's safe for him illness wise to be in the school. So, the whole December, January, February, you never know what's going to happen.
Okay.
It's part of the reason he missed 4 months of school this year because everybody was so sick and we just keep him away from it. So,
Well, we declare that he's going to get his new lungs, that God is
yes.
going to restore everything that your family has gone through these past 2 years, and you guys will have a whole new second chance at life and have new adventures together. And he's going to
Yeah.
just be strong and live long, and you'll get a break.
So looking forward to not doing math all the time. And he wants to travel. He's like, he's watched me travel some. His dad travels for work. He wants to, he's like, Mom, when do we get to go back to the beach? Because we had taken him to the beach prior to him being on the transplant list. Now we haven't gotten to go in the last 4 years because there's no beach within 4 hours of us. So, so he's like, when do I? I'm like, dude, as soon as you're allowed to travel after your transplant, we will go to the beach. I promise. Everybody will probably join in and go with us to the beach. And yes, I'll take you here. And yes, he wants to go on a Disney cruise. And that was his thing when they woke him up after the surgery that when he almost got his transplant. When I walked into the room and the doctor was explaining to him what happened after they woke him up, he was like, so I can't go on my Disney cruise now? He was like, not yet, dude. Soon, but not yet.
Aw,
So
aw.
yeah, so he's got his bucket list of things he's looking forward to, and I
And
think
that's very good
it is.
because
It keeps
he knows he's going to survive this thing, and he's going to get his lungs, and that's the posture that you want to have.
Mm-hmm.
Amen to
Yeah.
that.
He was.
So we're definitely praying for you. We're praying for your family.
Thank you.
I got Keegan on my prayer list for Transplant Prayer Hour. That he, just gets his new lungs and gets his new life, and he'll be telling this story and encouraging other people, just like you. So you start writing that book, my friend.
You'll be
Let's
the first
write.
one I tell when I get it done. How's that?
Writing is therapeutic, and the scripture talks about it, right? In Habakkuk 2:2. Write
Mm-hmm.
the vision and make it plain so he who reads it can run with it. Because everything that you're going to write is going to encourage and bless somebody else.
Right. I need to, because I do like to read, and I found a lot of comfort in reading and stuff. So it's one of my favorite pastimes. I don't have a lot of time to do it these days, but I do like to do it a lot.
I know, right? You are such a busy lady. So I pray God's strength to you. I pray his peace and comfort to you. And I pray a hedge of protection around you and your family. The storm will not disturb your peace. And it will pass you by in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. So,
Thank you, Kerensa.
thank you so much for this opportunity. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Is there anything you would like to say before we go?
Just for everybody to stay strong, find their village, keep their faith in God. I don't know if I told you, because I can't remember if I talked to you before Easter or not, but Keegan was saved on Easter. He got baptized on Easter Sunday. So
Wow.
yeah,
Praise the Lord.
he
I
had
knew
begged
he
me.
was a God. See there?
Yeah,
You are doing
he's
a good work, my friend. You are doing a good work. You are raising him up in the way that he should go. And he's
yeah.
gonna live long and strong. And he's got a miraculous testimony that he's working on right now. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah,
I believe in miracles.
I think Keegan will use it too, because he's very strong in his faith. Even if I've turned the radio station to something else, he's like, "Mom, put it back. Put it on my song." And he's got his artist that he loves, and yeah. So he's a big Toby
That's
Mac
good.
fan and Ben Fuller fan. So yeah,
That's good. I
yeah.
love to hear that. I
So
love to hear that.
yeah,
Thank you,
just find your
Corinne.
village and keep your faith and go with life, live life. That's kind of my motto.
So promise me you'll come back to About Transplant Life and tell me all about when he receives his lung transplant, and we'll just encourage the people with that story, okay? Will you do it?
I promise I will. Yes, I will do that.
Okay. All right. Peace. Thank you for watching. For more inspiring stories, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at About Transplant Life with Miss Vinnie. Thank you for watching. For more inspiring